Hello and welcome. My name is Nilaus. This is a tutorial and showcase of the Vanilla Train Network being created by Haphollas and used by pretty much everyone in my community. And I think it's time for us to make a real tutorial video where we go through it and we explain exactly how it works. But first, before we dive into circuit magic, I need to entice you by why you should keep watching this video despite the fact that it will contain a certain amount of circuit networks. Already you're hesitant, but let me illustrate. Well, this base is a community map from our Lazy Bastard run. I will provide this. I'll provide blueprints so you can get started without all the circuit magic. Let's just have a look at the wonderful thing that it does before we dive into how it does it. So we have a train network that is fully automated. It will monitor where materials are available. It will automatically dispatch trains there. It will monitor where demand is available, where we need more products, and it will open up. Let's see that one, that's closed, and these ones are open. It will open up so that trains will come in and automatically load there. And that gives us pretty much a fully autonomous, fully automated train network that we can use. It also has the distinct advantage of being complete vanilla, so no mods are needed. Additionally, it is incredibly easy to wire up a new location, such as this. You basically just find a product location, and you go out, stamp down the blueprint, including all of this circuit magic that we will explain. And once that's done, the rest, as I say, is history. It will automatically be starting to send the trains there as it's needed. So I think that was enough of a commercial to keep you enticed with why you should keep following this. And so let's take a look at it, right? Let's take a look. Okay, so we are going to start with, there are several different things. Oh, thank you. Look how automated it is. It just comes in right on cue. Right, there are certain things that we need to go through in order for you to understand it. Now you know why you want to understand it, and then we'll go through how it works. This is a requester station or an unloading station. I will use those terms sort of at random. Then there is the loading station, and there's the depot, and then there's how the train is actually set up. There is a global network here that shares information. This contains both the requested amount and the provided amount. And the way it's done is a bit of a program approach. So yeah, it works, but it's definitely not intuitive. I understand why it's done this way, because then it's only the red wire that's being used instead of using red and green wires for supply and demand. Look at that, it just keeps coming in. Okay, so let's have a look. This one is controlled by some parameters you set yourself. This is the threshold. This is how much you would like to have in the station as the buffer. 40,000 means as soon as the content of these boxes dips below 40,000, the station will be open and ready to receive new loads. That's pretty simple. Then this one is also the setup. This is why it also works with modded. You can specify how much of this particular product is in a wagon load and how many wagons you have. What happens is it goes into here, calculated together, and gets the total size, 8,000 in the case of ore. This 8,000 represents one full train. So we know now that one full train is 8,000. Right, so we have on the red wire here, we have 41,000 coming in. Let's actually take another one. Maybe they have some interesting results. No, that's 43. That particular, 29. Very interesting. Good. Right, so this one is 29, which means it is certainly less than the 40,000 we're requesting. You will need to take a look on the right hand side quite a lot during this tutorial. Here we go, that's a train station. So this one, this combinator is simply reversing it. Then it's taking the threshold, the 40,000, and the minus, in this case 35,000, into this location and simply monitoring, is this greater than 0? It is greater than 0. Then send an S signal, which is the signal we need to open the station. So basically, if the content is less than the threshold, open the station. So far, so good. Now what it otherwise does, it basically takes the sum here, which means this is the total amount. In this case, it's hovering around 6K. Once the train is done unloading, it will go down to 6.4. It will then take it and fill it in here, where it will be divided by the load size, the train load size. The train load size is 8,000, you can see here. So now it's 7.2. When it goes above 8,000, which it might do, hopefully very soon, then you will see the output signal will trigger, and it will trigger now as an output signal of 1. And there's another train. That output signal of 1 is then provided to the global network through here. This is where the magic comes in. It is bit shifted by 15, which basically means that a 1 becomes a 32,000. I don't know. That's just why it's like there. So it means if we look at this, then for example, the copper 35,000, it means, or the 65,000 means it's 2, and the 98,000, I don't know why that's there, but oh right, it basically, yeah, so that 65 is 2 and 98 is 3. That's just what is important to keep in mind. So at this point, this is not telling the global network, because it would be 32,000. So in the global network that it has station is open, but is not requesting anything, no demand. So that's pretty much it. If we really look at the core of it, this one is the essence is, does this station need more? If yes, open the station. And it also tells the global network, how many train loads of iron do we need in the base? Well, that's pretty simple, right? Let's see if I can prevent myself from being killed. Now let's take a look at the loading station, or the provider station. This is also important. So in general, it does pretty much the same. Here we have the content of the boxes is 37,000. It is going in to, here we have the wagon count and the max cargo per train, which is going in here to be calculated. Again, it will be 8,000, but this is also why it works with liquids and with mods. With any mods like Angels or Bobs that have different trains, or anything else that has Factorio Extended for that matter. So here we go. And again, we use the same method here by saying take the amount in the boxes and divide it by the train size. That is 38,000 divided by 8,000. That's 4 holes plus something that's rounded off. And that means this is provided 2 different places. This one is, okay, so if this is greater than 1, or greater is, oh, sorry. Where's that one coming from? Input count, parameters, S greater than, oh, no, okay, it's here. That's the one. All right, so it takes the input, you can see here. And if the input is greater than 1, then it'll output S, and the S goes in here, which opens the station. So basically it says, if this station, don't send a train here, meaning it's closed, if there's nothing to pick up. So if we are picking up everything there is faster than it can load, then it will eventually run out, and then it'll say, no, sorry, don't send a train here because I can't load a full train. Makes perfect sense. That goes in there. So that's how we enable and disable the station. And that one is absolutely fantastic. It just left, and it left because it received a global signal. Here, this 32,000 iron ore is a signal from one of these stations that says, hey, now I can receive a full load more. And that is received on the global network. It goes in here, where it's byte shifted by 15. That's basically divided by 32,000. And you can see now it goes into 1 iron ore, goes in here on the green wire. And if the iron ore is greater than 0, then it goes a green signal. The green signal is then fed, let's see, in here, and it's sent to the train. So let's have a look for this one. If we look at the condition for leaving the station, the iron ore station, it is a full cargo and it receives a green signal, which basically means it will be the train will stop at the loading station until a requester station says, please send it here. This is an absolutely phenomenal feature because it means that, unlike Logistics Train Network, the mod, Logistics Train Network, the trains will be parked at the depot and then be dispatched when there's a matching supply and demand, which means that the second I say, hey, I need 8,000 iron ore, it first has to travel all the way to the loading location, load, and all the way to the unloading location. And that in that period, we can actually run out. And that's what happens very often. So you need to get bigger buffers. And we all know about what happens with bigger buffers. That's the root of all that's evil, says the guy who regularly stores many millions of products. Anyway, that's a different topic. However, in this vanilla train network setup, they are not stop here. They are only there for 3 seconds, and then they will go out. If they receive a signal, maybe it's time for us to go there. If they receive a signal that there is a loading station available. So basically, if we take a station at rest, let's see if I can hit you right on this train without killing myself. Let's have a look at it from a depot perspective or train perspective. The train is stuck at the depot until it is told that by the network, yes, there is actually, am I driving? Yes, there is actually a train station, loading station that can provide a full train load. Then it gets dispatched. Then it goes to the loading station, loads. It'll be stuck at the loading station until there is a requester station that says, hey, send me a full load of train, a full load. And that's the upside of this. Now let's see. This one is going in. I do think that might be a miss. This is nothing to do with the mod. That thing here. Don't think it's here. Yeah, it's not there. I think that's actually one of the shortcomings here. Oh, didn't work. Didn't make a difference. I was just kind of worried that it would be... Oh, okay. All right, so where are you going again? You're going... Okay, let's see if I can hitch... Don't get killed on a tutorial, that sucks. Alright, so now this goes in here. So what this means is that each train will go depot. When there's a place to load, it'll go to the loading. When there's a place to unload, it'll go to the unloading. And then go back to the depot. So if there's no loading location, it will be stuck at the depot. Maybe that one's stuck? No, it's not. Right, so this is also one of the disadvantages that this one has, and we should be mindful of when we do this. Let's just have a look at the depot while we can do that. It's the 3.1. Okay, so one of the shortcomings is as it's stuck at the depot, it dispatches to loading stations. If I have 3 iron trains, they could go to 3 different iron locations, like that one, and this one. Then one of these locations says, yep, I'm ready to receive another train load. Well, there is no way in the vanilla to control, well, there is probably a way, but that's going to be monstrous in terms of how it works. But then it basically says to all of them, say, hey, good to go. That means that all 3 trains will be dispatched. So it's something you need to keep in mind of. And what this means is you build a stacker like this before your unloading locations. That completely alleviates that problem, and don't kill me. And that works really, really well as well. So let's have a look lastly at, I was about to run in front of that train. Good thing I didn't. There. Look at the depot, because the depot doesn't do much. It basically takes the global signal, then it shifts it by, so it takes the supply side of it. No, sorry. This is the demand side. It takes the demand side out of it, then it makes it negative, and then it shifts it back. And it also goes out here, which doesn't do anything. It just passes it straight through. And then we basically take, this is the total, and this is the demand side. So we basically subtract the demand side from the total, yielding the supply side. So that means at the current moment, 25 iron locations or iron loads are available, 14 copper loads, 11 cold loads, and 3 oil loads. And that's just simply routed in here. Center train. The train here is if iron ore 3. That means if there are more than 3 locations provided, in this case 25, then it'll go out. But this is also in this case because the base is simply not consuming and we've just hooked up like a massive location, which means if there's only one station that works, well, if we are basically running out of materials and we're waiting for one of these two to sorry, what am I saying? If we don't have enough ore being provided, then they'll be also stuck at the depot. And then to make sure that whenever one becomes available, one loading location becomes available, that all trains are not dispatched there, then the trains are identified by if there's one location, if there's more than one or more, if there's 2 or more, 3 or more, 4 or more. That's the good way to make sure that you don't send too many out. But that's basically it for this base. It is incredibly it's incredibly difficult to build and support and just continue to develop, and that's pretty brilliant that it works this well. But once you have it, you just need this little blueprint for the requester station, this little blueprint for the provider station, loading station, and this little blueprint for the depot. And then you need the trains set up in the following way: depot, dispatch, and then a bit of waiting time, outbound from the loading station only when it gets a green signal, and on the requester station, then just unload and move on. Very, very simple. And I would highly recommend anyone who is either struggling with trains in their own bases or just wants to try something new for your train bases. There might be some things where it just doesn't scale to a certain size, but I think we've been trying it also on an Angels base that had, as you know, with many items, like 50 or something different items, and it actually really works. It just works flawlessly. It also is very light on the updates because it doesn't use any mods. There are no scripting. It's purely updating circuits, and that's pretty light as well. And there are not that many circuits, if we really come down to it, that updates all the time. So that's just an extra depot, just in case. One thing that should be mentioned as a shortcoming is if you have, let's say, iron ore into this base and iron ore into another base, then it doesn't split or doesn't recognize the difference. That means this one might be open, but it will then dispatch to that one. And it will have a tendency to dispatch to the closest one because that's just how the vanilla routing works. So keep that in mind. It works best with centralized location, which means a base such as this is absolutely brilliant. At the end, I should just mention that this monstrosity here is a setup for build anything. It is a work in progress. I'm not even going to dive into explaining it, but when this one is being hashed out a bit more, this is basically you send a request and saying, oh, I want 7 of those, 5 of these, 10 of those, and then it's located next to the mall, and then requested itself. We're not going to go into that because it is even more magical, and I think this is enough circuit network for one video. Anyway, some things to note. Credit goes to Haphollas from the community. He has been really doing an amazing work on building it, maintaining it, and shoving down our throats, pushing it at any given time that he can, which is awesome. Also helping anyone who has been wanting to implement it. I'll provide the map here so you can take a look at it. Remember, or note that it's a lazy bastard map, so you won't be able to handcraft. Doesn't matter. Then also, and also I'll be providing some blueprints just to make it easier to get started on this. And what else? The map is available for download, yes. And if you have any questions or comments or something like that, then drop by my community. There are lots of people who understand it, know it, and can help. And I'm probably not the one who knows the most about it, so probably better to ask someone else. But I hope that you find it interesting. I hope this is something that you can use in your own base. I think it has been an amazing addition, and it really does some pretty awesome stuff for a vanilla base. So thank you very much for joining, and I hope you appreciate it and that you'll be dropping that like, because it means a lot to me and also to the people who've been working on it. So thank you very much. See you around. Bye.